Hello and welcome to New Filmmakers Los Angeles in partnership with Movie Maker magazine. My name is Danny DeLillo. We're here at the South Park Center. I'm delighted to join Brea with her movie, Definitely Not a Monster. Let's take a look at the clip.
You do what you do, okay? Don't go easy on me. They'll see right through that.
You got it. Tell us why we're here.
People love a good fall from grace story, and my husband was a perfect target.
Was he ever unfaithful? Is there anything else you want to tell us about your husband?
Yes.
Brea, firstly, welcome to the New Filmmakers LA family. We're so happy to have you, and I am so happy you brought this film to us, and thank you so much for bringing your film to us. For those that haven't seen it, tell us a little bit about it.
Yes. So the film, it's about a devoted mother and wife. She actually just recently lost her husband of 40 years, who was a famous actor. But before he died, he was accused of rape by some women. So not only she cremated her husband, but she's still dealing with the fallout from the rape allegations. So she decides to invite a journalist that she knows to tell her story, because she knows that he is completely innocent. She knows once people hear her, she will clear this name.
There were so many people last night at the festival that were just mesmerized by your film. We talked on set today here about your film. Your film is phenomenal. It really is. It's a phenomenal film, and you played your character part really, really well. In this really, really difficult story from a perspective that we don't actually get to see very often from a person or a user.
Mm.
Where did this story kind of unfold that you wanted to turn this idea into a film?
Yeah, I back about 5 years ago, I wrote it 2019, but at the time I had really been following a lot of stories, some of whom were public figures I grew up with, admiring, and kind of got heartbroken when things came out. But as I was going through that, grappling with these stories, I was really thinking about the wives and the kids and how people are affected by these types of experiences, not only the person that's doing it, but the people in their family. So I really want to kind of delve into that and explore what it would be like to be a wife. And the question that I posed for this particular story was, how does someone, even when there are lots of allegations against their loved one, how do they stand by their man? So how could that happen? How could that? So as I started exploring and created the character of Mike Booker, this is what came out. It wasn't a journey, honestly. I did not know what I was going to have and how it was going to end. And for me, it was, it was very unexpected what came out, but I really took glad that, I guess I took the risk.
Yeah, I'm glad you did too. I mean, it was exquisitely written. It was, really, I don't think I could take a breath in it, because it was just, it was so this dynamic between, your character and the why this character you developed, was just very tense. And then there was multiple layers within the context of that. You take us quite a journey of how the feelings articulate and how they kind of change, and then how we're to and froing with her. How did you go about them wanting to sort of set it up in this particular scene? Because what I loved kind of how off camera in the film that you were like, just ask me anything. Ask me anything. Here we are sitting on the camera, and I'm always so conscientious even about people's feelings, right? But this is a serious subject, and this is something really went on, and to see your character dynamic sort of alter and change throughout this film was really fascinating to watch. It must have been pretty amazing developing these characters. And how was that in bringing your cast, but also working that dynamic both in front and behind camera?
First of all, I have to talk about April Grace.
She's
I'm at the top of April Grace.
like mesmerizing.
She knocked it out of the park. I saw her in Magnolia, and she was the interviewer opposite Tom Cruise. And somebody sent me, oh, you have to check out this scene in the movie after reading my script, just, make it polite, that would help because it's every scene. I saw her scene. I was looking for my likes Aquarius. And when I saw it, I was like, she's 25 years too young. She's only like 40. And I looked at the date. This movie was made in 1999. She was exactly the age I was looking for. And I just had to get Fox April before I found that. But the reason why I had to talk about April is it's such a challenging role. She has so many levels. She just was the epitome of a professional, and she just really brought so much to the character.
Yeah.
I mean, my job as a director will be easy. Yeah, honestly. So, and then being opposite her just as an actress, and it was just so much fun. Granted, it was ardent, but like just how alive and moment to moment, the moment to moment acting was so wonderful. So the fact that she was able to just take from the page and create life in the way she did was phenomenal. But honestly, when I was thinking about developing when two characters, both women had their own stories. Obviously, you learn a lot about life. We don't learn a lot about ladies, but Whitney has a story too.
Yeah.
And she was invited to do this interview by Goodbye. And she did her work, and she really delved in. But it's really out of the love that she is presenting the information that's presenting. She cares about life. She cares about her future and her freedom and her growth as a woman. And I really focused on that, the love that Whitney had for women in general, but also was trying to really be thinking about life and what she experienced and how it could have psychological effects that would potentially be re-traumatizing. I was thinking about all of those things as a writer, and as an actor was trying to be as just sensitive to the subject matter as possible.
You did it all.
But also try to make it real. So
you did all of that and more, honestly. Like, I mean, there's so many multiple layers, and you goodness me, took on so many roles. When I thought you just carried this film with, from a writer, director, actor with such sensitivity, and how wonderful that you see someone you really admire as an actor, right? And a film that's like back in 1999. And then what a wonderful surprise. How was she when she said, hey, I've loved you from when I first saw this film, et cetera, et cetera. And then that brought you together. How was that?
It was. But this place no longer existed, even over at the Rose Cafe.
Yes.
So I sent her the script. I went directly to her. One of my friends, Shelly Gay, is able to find her email address. She's not on social. And so I see her the script. She got the script, and she's like, I'm going to meet up. And I asked what her favorite spot was, and we met at the Rose Cafe. And in the first time to know that it was gonna be gone. I was hoping to go back there, and anyway. So yeah, it was surreal. We immediately just had such a great connection, meeting one another, and it was just now we're dear friends, and I just so grateful. She'll always be, because this is my first film, she'll always be the first person I've gotten it.
I can't believe this is your first film. I know. Obviously, you had a career path in different avenues, but I hope now there's just the encouragement for you to make many, many, many more films. Honestly, because I mean, you stole people's breath away, and even with the title, that there's so much you can take from just the title alone, and how you want to take it. But I think the film that you had was an extremely important one to make. And the dynamic and the story and characters that you brought together in this film. And I'm just curious with like, what did you want your audience to experience from the film?
Really, first of all, I wanted them to feel like they were there with that they were experiencing the interview for the first time, going on the journey. I actually did it as a one-act play before doing it as a short film. I did that in 2018.
Wow.
Because a friend told me, oh, this would work really well. It's one act, you want to do this? I was like, no. She asked me again. I was like, okay, I'll say yes. You say yes more. So the no was from fear. And so this whole project has been a lot of confronting fear and saying, being courageous and doing it anyway. So I, similar to when we did it on stage, it was, you wanted people to understand how complex things are. I think I was, when I would hear these stories, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is crazy. How can anybody? You realize there's so much you don't know about other people's stories. There's so many layers of so much complexity and again, these things I'm not saying when these, but people are, yes, very complex. And so I think I had more empathy for, I don't think I'm not as judgy. I feel like I try to really just hear people's stories and understand that. And I hope that anybody who sees this would just be open to, just knowing like, we have some of the stories we're not even able to face. Like the fact that like, community that kind of totally different story from what really.
Well, Brea, you nailed the complexity. Like you really did. Like, I mean, I think the wonderful thing that I felt in your film is that you just nailed how complicated this is. Be talking about someone she's been with, 40 odd years, has no longer here speak for themselves. Knowing that person maybe before they even did what they did, then the public eye side of things, like all of these complexes that was there. And, because there's always, I always feel for the people that weren't involved in something that are associated with them through being a family member or a father, and what that looks like, and it shouldn't be on their burden, but then how much did they allow themselves to go through and what they experience or not, or be blindsided to it or ignore it and all of those things, right? And you're like, and so I was like taking it up, and so it's a lot. But you really did nail it. Like I'm almost, this was very encouraging to see it from, because we don't often see it from these perspectives, especially someone who's speaking on behalf of someone else,
right,
as well.
Right.
Looking back on this project, what have you learned most in filmmaking?
You gotta get out of your comfort zone. That. Yeah, kind of feel this year, but do it anyway. Surround yourself with people that you respect, admire, whose work you appreciate it, because this is obviously such a collaborative art. I've learned so much about film and the beauty of cinema, the power of cinema, of story, how it can open you up, how it can open others up, how it can start conversations. We could, talk about a film, but sometimes the thing we can't talk about, but we can talk about film and why maybe leads to the thing that we need. It's just so powerful. I say something like, I've been acting for a long time, I've been in the industry for a long time, and I think it just gave me so much love for the art form, for every person that is part of it. From the sound person to the cameras to the everything. I don't think I really appreciated it all until I did it myself.
Yeah.
And I'm just wowed by it, but also going to the theater and seeing it on the big screen.
Yeah.
And seeing it play out, but also that we can share the links and whatnot. I just, honestly, I could go on and on about how much I learned, not of only the human about human nature, about just so many different things. I just feel so fortunate to have been able to kind of share in this way, but I feel like I was changed, and I kind of came out more empathetic and more just courageous person, because again, this was hard. It was not easy on any level, and so I think that it makes me just like being courageous into the hard things. Yeah, telling stories that maybe are not often told.
Yeah, absolutely. And you're doing that. So previously, what is next? What do you?
Oh, well, this one is actually being developed into the limited. Yeah, and also I'm some future film it is also being shot. That's very exciting little called Pascal.
Oh, wait, it's so nice.
Yeah, so there's several other scripts, so lots of things cooking. It's very exciting. Living in LA, it's such a great town.
Yeah.
And just also being from Austin and other places that there's indie film. I'm just very much I've always been a lover of indie film, but just being part of this in this way has just made me fall in love even more with independent film. So just go out there and do something.
You're doing it. You are doing it, and I can't wait for the developments of the limited series and other projects that you're working with. And we're so glad that you was. We're so proud that you made this film, and we're looking forward to seeing many more projects of yours in the future. But thank you for bringing Decade Not a Monster to us. Very, very sticky, important film. That if that's the first film you've done, then we've got a very exciting future ahead for you in these roles as well. So thank you for it.
Thank you, Jim. I think it's so amazing. I mean, I am so grateful to be part of the NewFilmmakers LA team. So I need for family, the family.
The family. We're a family. We're a big, huge family. But thank you very much. And please bring the projects to us.
Yep.
Yes. Thank you for everybody.
Thank you.